Thank you for hosting us here in your house. Regarding your work, combating anti-Semitism from the European Commission, what does your day-to-day work look like? Can you share a little bit with us?
So my work varies quite a bit. On the one side, it's really important to me to be in touch with the Jewish community, with organizations that are close to our work, that combat anti-Semitism or support democracy in different ways and so on. So there are a lot of meetings. During COVID, a lot of them were online. And I'm very glad that now we can finally meet again in person. At the moment, we are writing the first ever strategy on combating anti-Semitism and fostering Jewish life, because we think that these two things go together, and it's very important to also have this positive aspect in it of fostering Jewish life.
Like me, you are not Jewish, you're not Israeli. My question would be, how did you get engaged in this topic? Why is it so important to you, and what motivates you?
I think it's a mix of how I grew up and how the family discussed these issues. I'm German, so the question of our responsibility with regards to the Jewish people, but also more generally with regards to safeguarding democracy and standing up for the rights of others was a topic that was often discussed around dinner.
You joined us at the latest ELNET conference in Paris, the EIPC. Can you share with us some of the impressions you had? You had a wonderful speech that you made there as a keynote. What were your impressions? What was your experience that you had there with ELNET?
So I think I was impressed by the professionality of how this was organized, also of the competence of the people and the knowledge they have about the subject, not only with regards to Israel and policies towards Israel, but really also on anti-Semitism. I had a lot of good conversations in the margins, and I think it is inspiring to see also the bridge building function that many of your members have between their country or their community and Israel.
How are we also relevant for the cause that you are fighting for on a daily basis?
Well, we know when it comes to Israel that Jews experience Israel-related anti-Semitism as the most common form at the moment. And I believe a lot of it has to do with the lack of knowledge of the country, and by seeing Israel only through the lens of the conflict without seeing the diversity and the challenges that the society faces and the many facets that Israel has. So I think this is something that ELNET brings, and that is important as a message in also the European circles. I also think that I very much like your initiatives of bringing people to Israel for that reason, because I think once you've been there, you have a very different view, and you see also how complex the situation is. I see on the one side that yes, anti-Semitism is rising and is more overt also, which is scary. But on the other side, in the past 5-6 years, I see also that member states and the EU and different civil society organizations, also on local level in the regions, have really changed and built up structures to address these challenges and address anti-Semitism in all its forms. We have an increased recognition of the different forms of anti-Semitism, including also anti-Zionism and Israel-related anti-Semitism.
Do you have an advice for us or suggestion how we can improve the work that we are doing, how we can support your work that you are doing to be of help?
Well, I think you're already doing a very good job. In particular, I think we work very well together here with the Brussels office and also across Europe. I think, you know yourself, you need a long breath because this policy field is challenging and is not something that will quickly change. But indeed, being open about what is happening in Israel on the one side, and having this bridge function, bringing people here, bringing also other people from Europe and the US there to see, but also to have a contact with politicians, but also I think people of the wider society in Israel come here, because I have to say also the understanding there of how the EU functions is not very profound often, because it is often perceived, as if the EU or the European Commission, where I work, could say, okay, and now this is the legislation we impose, and therefore, I don't know, anti-Semitism now has to be dealt with in this way. But the truth is, we have 27 member states. We all work together, clearly, towards common goals, but also in a very diverse manner. And so I think this works both ways for Israelis to understand the EU better, but also for the Europeans to understand Israel and the diversity and the incredible richness of Israel better. Fighting anti-Semitism is the most difficult in your immediate environment. It's not easy, but I think it really can make a change, and therefore we can all make a change to address anti-Semitism, including also when it comes to bias against Israel.